As you can see, there are lots of fun activities in our Maze Adventure Park. The 60-foot super slide, the pavilion-covered jumping pillow, our amazing playground and swings, the road maze, the mist maze, the rock maze, or labyrinth, where you can become one with nature. There's the kids zip line, catch and release fishing, where kids can learn to fish on a king pole with their parents. The wind tunnel, and of course the tower, where on that first level you can see just what you're about to get into, which is our 7 acres of corn mazes. The mini maze is only an acre, but you can go for the big one, the 6-acre corn maze. We also have our wonderful food vendors. I know you smell that aroma of good food. Y'all look hungry. Beyond the corn maze is our tree maze, in the shape of an ear of corn, and properly called corn fusion. Our big pavilion, perfect for group events like corporate team building, private parties, reunions, weddings, and the Field of Feast dinners. This February, we had our 6th annual Field of Feast dinner, sponsored by Edible Orlando Magazine and Disney, to raise money for the Second Harvest Food Bank Kids Cafe. Over the years, we have raised well over $100,000 to help feed underprivileged youth. Our pavilion can seat up to 450 guests, with entertainment and catering available. So y'all call us when we get ready for that special get-together. This is our 18th year doing a corn maze. Every year is a different theme and a different design. Our theme this year is Farm to Table. You find stations inside the big maze to help you answer the game sheet questions and do the 9 rubbings. The mini maze highlights our Kirby Pickle logo. When you find the 5 stations in the maze, you get your fortune. You become a big deal.
Scott Farms began as a 40-acre farm in 1963 when my grandfather, Frank Scott, came to Zellwood to join his Eastern Shore, Virginia neighbor and friend, Billy Long. Over the years, Papa cleared and developed land on the farm, bringing the total acreage up to the 1,200 acres that it is today. My dad, Hank, now runs the operation with the help of my brother, Sonny, who is in charge of all the vegetable production. My Uncle Marks handles all the turf grass production, and my Aunt Rebecca is in charge of the maze and agri-tainment activities. I'm Haley, and I run the farmers market and cafe. We could not accomplish any of this without a very talented team of employees. Both in the fall and again in the spring, we grow 400 acres of pickled cucumbers and 40 acres of the world-famous Scott Zellwood sweet corn. Through the winter, we grow 375 acres of red, green, and spoy cabbage, as well as 20 acres of kale, and 30 acres of collards, turnips, mustard greens, and Brussels sprouts. Fortunately, these crops are able to withstand the frosty and freezing weather that may otherwise damage less hardy crops. We also grow 225 acres of turf grass, St. Augustine Fullerton, which is the most popular and can grow well in the full sun, palmetto, which grows in partial sun, and the drought-resistant zoysia. Long & Scott Farms grows on soil known as Florida Flatwoods ground. Meaning approximately 1 to 6 feet underneath the surface, there is a hard pan that restricts the water from draining down too fast. We feed our V-ditches with water from a series of 9 wells across the farm. The water then seeps out under the fields to feed the roots, hence the name seepage irrigation. We are basically raising and lowering the water table to irrigate our crops. In reverse, when we have too much rain, we shut off the wells and the water seeps out of the fields and into the V-ditches and runs off to help dry the fields.
Farmers are the first generational environmentalists. It is imperative that we are good stewards of our land and natural resources because they are the most important assets. We can serve and protect our land and water by using good agricultural practices, crop rotation, soil testing, and nutrition analysis. We do this not only to produce top quality, high yielding, safe and nutritious produce, but also to guarantee minimal fertilizer and chemical usage. It is a definite balancing act, especially with adverse weather conditions which we usually have in the fall. We rotate crops through our 4-season year by growing vegetables, winter, and spring season. Crops can vary from year to year as to what the land needs most and what cover crops are not close to unwanted insects or diseases that we might be having issues issues. But the crop supply is important cycle for our land. Incorporated into the soil. This is done to increase the organic content of the soil, as well as starving out unwanted weeds, preventing bacteria, diseases, and nematodes. The organic mass of the soil acts as a magnet for minerals and so that they do not mix out with the environment. In addition to the vegetables, we also grow a few hundred acres of sugar grapes, which can be used as a rotation on crop fields to control emissions. Scott Farms has been growing the world-famous Zelwood sweet corn for over 50 years, and we are the one and only grower of Scott's Zelwood Sweet Gourmet Corn, a name we have been able to take. With the help of Fresh Corn Orlando, the nation's largest fresh produce distributor, as well as our own farmers market, we have established a brand known as the sweetest, most tender, best-eating corn around. However, there are a lot of imitators, so be sure you are getting the authentic Scott's Zelwood Sweet Corn, because we hand-pick the corn daily for ultimate freshness. Scott's Zelwood Sweet Corn is a triple sweet, extra tender variety of bicolor corn that combines the newer, sweeter varieties with the old-fashioned, tender varieties you remember from your grandma's garden. So, whether you like white corn or yellow corn, you get the best of both worlds with our bicolor corn.
Those looks like cucumbers.
The corn is pollinated through the silk, which are actually hollow, and each strand of silk is connected to each individual kernel. The pollen is released when the good Lord says that the time is right, and is then dropped from the tassel into each silk, making its way all the way down to the kernel for a perfect ear of corn. We will plant roughly 24,000 seeds per acre in an effort to get just the right size for a beautiful and truly tasty ear of corn. Typically, a corn plant will produce one good ear of corn in the fall, while the daylight hours are limited, and sometimes 2 ears in the spring season with the longer days. The maturity time is about 84 days, depending on the amount of heat units during the growing season. Because of the shorter days and higher temperatures, fall corn is typically smaller than spring corn. Oh, but it tastes just as good. So, please be sure to get yourselves a bag of fresh Scott's Zelwood sweet corn to take home with you and enjoy. Scott Farms grows 400 acres of pickled cucumbers in the fall and also the spring season. As our main crop, we grow pickled cucumber varieties that are developed with a very thin skin. A thin skin allows for the brine to be absorbed in order to become a great tasting pickle with a unique flavor for which the brine will dictate. Cucumbers require pollination as they are vine crops like melon and squash with many blooming flowers. The flowering blooms must be pollinated for the plant to produce marketable pickled cucumbers. We rent the honeybees and purchase the bumblebees to ensure pollination for pickle production. The bumblebees will fly and work the needed pollination in adverse weather, but the honeybees work better in fair weather. However, both are needed for complete pollination. Albert Einstein said, if bees disappear from the surface of the earth, man would have no more than 4 years left to live. So we realize how blessed we are to have the bees. We plant the pickles at 46,000 seed per acre and average 450-pound bushels per acre, or 10 ton per acre. Once planted, the fields are irrigated with overhead walking hose drills that help germinate the seed and activate the pre-emergent herbicides to control weeds. Pickles grow to maturity in 35 to 50 days, depending on the heat and sunlight, but mostly the nighttime temps of 70-plus degrees allow them to grow well. All of the pickles are hand-picked and using harvest aids to conveyor the pickles into the truck gondolas and ensure quality. They are then taken to the packing house to be washed, graded, cooled, and sized into 6 different sizes, then packed and shipped. We will pick the pickle vines clean every 4 days and try to get 6 to 8 picks, providing the quality holds up. We sell about 50% of what we produce to fresh market and the rest to processors for pickling.
In the colder winter months, we grow 375 acres of red green cabbage, along with 20 acres of kale and 30 acres of carrots, Brussels sprouts, and other greens. All these are known as brassicas or cold crops, which means that they can withstand the frost and occasional freezes we get in the winter. We plant our cold crops with transplants grown for 4 weeks in the uniform rows and no missing plants for their uniform heads. Trying to grow a plant from a seed the size of a street can get in the sandy soil that can have a temperature of over 140 degrees. You would seldom get much uniform. That is why the plants are started in the greenhouse first and then transplanted in our fields with an animal transplanter, which is manually oiled transplants by human beings. We plant the green and support cabbage at 22,000 plants per acre with a head size that is desired. The red cabbage, kale, and other greens are planted at 15,000 plants per acre, as the red is hard to get sized up and the greens need more room to grow. Cabbage is sold on the fresh market by size and count. Each carton of cabbage must weigh at least 50 pounds. All the cabbage is packed in the field on the harvest tables in cardboard cartons, then stacked on pallets on a field truck and transported to the packing house and into a cool room to await shipment. It is all hand-cut and packed to the size and count that they are accustomed, with the most popular size being 16 to 18. That means a range of 16, 17, or 18 heads per carton. Kale is also packed in the field, but the kale leaves are bunched with UPC-coated rubber band and packed in either 12 or 24 bunches to the carton. Each carton must weigh 20 pounds. Cabbage matures in 90 to 100 days from planting, and they will average 50,000 pounds or 25 tons per acre. Kale matures a few months sooner at 50 to 55 days and will average 1,200 pounds per acre. Row crops are an excellent rotation crop because they act as a natural nematicide, which means they rid the soil of unwanted nematodes that can affect the growth and health of our crops.
We grow turf grass to support the thriving economy that is responsible for the increased building and development of Central Florida. St. Augustine Floritan is the most popular for homeowners, along with shade-tolerant St. Augustine palmetto. We also grow zoysia and some bahia. Plant sod with 2-inch squares or sprigs because there is no seed for some of these varieties. Bahia is the only sod we plant by seed. The sod is fertilized, irrigated, rolled, and maintained for 8 to 12 months until mature. It is kept mowed in an effort to force it to fill in and make beautiful grass. We harvest the sod with a machine mounted on a tractor that lifts 16 by 24-inch slabs, which are stacked at 150 pieces per pallet for 400 square feet per pallet.
Since day one, Long and Scott Farms have been committed to food safety and the safety of our most valued employees, as they are our greatest assets. We have an excellent staff, 25 folks, that work for us full-time, year-round. For harvesting, we bring in close to 100 H2A workers from Mexico to hand harvest all our crops, which ensures on-time harvest of quality produce. Long and Scott Farms is fully certified in food safety, and we take every measure to ensure the freshness and safety of all our produce. This includes independent field testing as well as periodic third-party audits. Thank you for visiting us today. Hope you enjoyed your time on the farm and hope you'll come back and see us soon. Please enjoy the rest of your visit and remember to support your local farmer and farmer's market for the freshest, safest produce available. Just FYI, produce in the supermarket is an average of 14 days old. Don't forget to get some fresh Scott's Zelwood Sweet Gourmet corn and visit our gift shop. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Oh, look at that. That's a tall ladder. That's awesome. You having fun? Where's Papa? Where's Papa? Where's Papa? You see him? Oh, there he is. I think he did. He's looking to see if it was us or not. He's got bad eyesight. We're still blessed to have him around. You know that? You know how old he is? Maybe 8. He's 80 years older than you. 80 and a half years older than you. And you'll be 8 in August. And he was born in February. Hello!